The front door was ajar, a sliver of moonlight slicing through the gap like a blade. My keys slipped from my hand, clattering on the hardwood, the sound swallowed by the pulse hammering in my ears. I stood frozen in the foyer of our home. Our home, the one we'd built over 15 years, with its creaky oak stairs and the kitchen table where we'd laughed over burnt casseroles. The air was wrong tonight, thick with a scent I didn't recognize, something sharp, like citrus and leather, not Sarah's usual lavender. Then I heard it, a low murmured laugh from upstairs, not hers, followed by her voice, soft and intimate in a way that hadn't been mine for months. I climbed the stairs, each step a betrayal of my own denial. My chest burned, not with anger yet, but with a desperate hope that I'd misunderstood. Maybe it was the TV. Maybe a friend. My mind churned through excuses, each one flimsier than the last. The bedroom door was cracked open, and through the gap, I saw them. Sarah, my wife, her hair spilling over a stranger's shoulder, his hands tracing the curve of her spine. My world tilted, the edges blurring like a smeared photograph. I didn't scream. I didn't barge in. I just stood there, a ghost in my own life, watching the woman I loved rewrite our story without me. 15 years. We'd met at a dive bar, her spilling cheap wine on my shoes, laughing so hard she snorted. I'd proposed on a rainy pier, her shivering under my coat as she said yes. We'd fought over money, over my late nights at the firm, over her endless art projects that cluttered the garage. But we'd always found our way back, until now. The signs had been there, hadn't they? Her late nights at the gallery, the way her phone glowed in her hand at 2 a.m., her sudden distance, like she was orbiting a star I couldn't see. I'd told myself it was stress, her new exhibit, anything but this. I backed away, my breath shallow, and left the house. The night air stung my face as I drove aimlessly, the city lights smearing into streaks of neon. I wanted to hate her, to let rage consume the ache. But all I felt was a hollow grief, like I'd been carved out from the inside. I pulled into a motel lot, the neon sign buzzing like my thoughts. Why hadn't she told me? Was I not enough? Had I ever been? The questions clawed at me, each one a fresh wound. I didn't sleep that night, just stared at the cracked ceiling, replaying every moment I might have missed, every lie I'd swallowed. Morning came, gray and heavy. I couldn't go back. Not yet. Instead, I called my brother, Mark, and told him everything in a voice that didn't sound like mine. Just leave, Tom, he said, his tone sharp with the kind of clarity I lacked. You don't owe her a confrontation. So I did. I vanished. Quit my job with a single email, packed a bag, and drove north until the city was a memory. I rented a cabin in Maine, surrounded by pines that whispered in the wind, their needles carpeting the earth like a warning to tread lightly. I didn't tell anyone where I was, not even Mark. My phone stayed off, Sarah's missed calls piling up like debts I'd never pay. Days bled into weeks. I worked odd jobs, chopping wood, fixing boats, my hands growing calloused, my heart less so. I'd lie awake imagining her with him, whoever he was. Was he funnier? Kinder? Did he make her laugh the way I used to? I wrote her letters I never sent, pages of anger and love and questions I'd never ask. I hated her for betraying me, hated myself for still loving her. The cabin's walls absorbed my silence, the lake outside reflecting a man I barely recognized. Gaunt, bearded, haunted. 2 years passed like a fever dream. I'd built a fragile peace, one that didn't flinch at her memory. Then one October evening, a knock shattered it. I opened the door, and there she was, Sarah, standing in the dusk, her coat dusted with pine needles, her eyes red-rimmed and searching. My heart lurched, a traitor to my resolve. Tom, she whispered, her voice breaking on my name. I found you. I didn't invite her in, but I didn't shut the door either. She stepped inside, the cabin suddenly too small, her presence filling it like smoke. I'm so sorry, she said, her words trembling. I was lost, Tom. I didn't know how to tell you I was drowning. She told me about the man, Evan, a curator at her gallery. It wasn't love, she swore, just a fleeting escape from the weight of her own failures, her art stalling, her confidence crumbling. She'd ended it weeks after I left, she said, when she realized I was gone for good. Why now? I asked, my voice rough, like I'd swallowed gravel. Her hands twisted together, her wedding ring still glinting on her finger. Because I can't live with what I did to you, she said. I need you to know I'm not that person anymore. She pulled a letter from her pocket, the paper worn thin, my handwriting on it. One of the letters I'd never sent, found in the cabin's trash by some miracle or mistake. I read this, she said, tears spilling. You still loved me, even after everything. I don't deserve it, but I need to try. I wanted to scream, to tell her she'd destroyed us, that her regret was too late. But her eyes held something I hadn't seen in years, truth, raw and unguarded. She wasn't the villain I'd made her into, nor was I the saint I'd imagined. We'd both failed, in quieter ways, long before Evan. I'd buried myself in work, ignored her late-night silences, assumed love was enough without effort. The realization was a slow bleed, more painful than her betrayal. Stay, I said finally, the word heavy, uncertain. Not forgiveness, not yet, but a crack in the wall I'd built. She nodded, her sob catching in her throat. We sat by the fire, the silence between us thick with unspoken questions. The future a fog we'd navigate together, or not. Outside, the wind howled, the pines bending but not breaking, and I wondered if we could do the same. 2 years ago, I'd vanished to escape her betrayal. Now she'd found me, and the real betrayal was how we'd both let our love erode. Long before that night. The twist wasn't her infidelity, or even her return. It was the mirror she held up, showing me we were both architects of our ruin, and maybe, just maybe, we could rebuild.